Hello everyone! Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm going to do a little rediscovered favorites video. I'm going to apply the things. As I look in my bag here, it's not like a full face exactly, but I just always think it makes a little more sense, gives a little more explanation when I put it on as I talk about it, if possible. Also, I need to point out, Pumpkin Spice, our little like outdoor kitty turned garage kitty turned now indoor cat, she's officially inside as of this past weekend. And can I just ask, like, is it always going to be this tense among the cats? Because Rosie, she's a bit more passive. She doesn't want conflict. She kind of hangs back, but Biscuits, she will hiss and growl, especially around eating time, like just this morning. She's gonna hang back and just kind of growl while New Kitty eats her breakfast. Pumpkin Spice, named by the girls. They insisted on this name. She's just a kitten. She's in kitten mode. She's playful. She can't be bothered. She doesn't care. She's just having fun. And then the other kitties are like, this is serious. We are on edge. We are judging. We are watching. So I'm eager for that dynamic to change a little bit, but I think it's pretty typical cat behavior. Anyways, the thing that spurred on this whole video is my rediscovery of this whole little face trio right here and how really long wearing it is. What kind of is setting it apart from some of the other long wearing things that I've like really been loving, like let's say Maybelline Superstay 24-hour Skin Tint. I've even been getting back into Revlon Color Stay, but this is very matte, and I am talking about the matte version here of the Photo Focus Foundation from Wet n Wild. I wear it in soft beige, and I really can't get over how amazing the staying power is, and I've been getting kind of back into it a little bit, and then I wore it on Saturday when we just were doing all kinds of things. We went to the pumpkin patch, we were on a hay rack ride where I was like both sweating and getting like dust on me. Actually, maybe the dust was like my touch-up setting powder, I don't even know. That's nuts. And then we went to the library, and then we went to a football game where I also sweat a little bit. Yeah, early October, still hot. But this little trio of this, the Incognito Concealer from Wet n Wild, and also the Photo Focus Loose Powder, it is mighty. They last well, and I'm just gonna put them on today. And when I was sort of reminded of that, I was like, wow, I'm loving this stuff. So I use a little spatula, frost the cake, as we say. I feel like I'm possibly running a little low on this. It's very hard to tell. The bottle's just kind of weighty in general, but I feel like I've used it enough to be nearly running out probably by now. This is just my little e.l.f. Duo brush, and you can kind of take the areas applied and blend them out a bit. But it's just such nice coverage, approaching full. I feel full coverage by the time all the 3 steps are on, for sure. I think the amount of coverage on the foundation can just kind of depend on the amount you apply, but she's for sure really matte. And aside from being impressed by the staying power, another thing I noticed was just like I was sweating, I was going through life heavily, and still looking really matte. Now they do have a dewy version of this foundation as well, but it doesn't have the hardcore staying power of this. But so many things are glowy these days, and I do see people in the comments from time to time who are like, I just want something that's not glowy. It's going to actually have a really matte finish, so this is for the matte friends. There's that foundation all blended in. I think you can already tell we're looking pretty even, pretty matte. And then I take the Incognito Concealer, which this was a fairly recent repurchase for me in the light beige shade, also Wet n Wild. And I've always said it with this, but I put on just a little bit more than I might with e.l.f. Camo Concealer, and I'm always very pleased with the result. Just dotting around normal zones. Really nothing different or fancy with this application. Nothing really changed up from what I normally do. Spread that around. You can see it's going to be a little bit more brightening compared to like what the tone was of the foundation. This is leveled up a little. And yeah, just shout out Wet n Wild. You know, they've really got it going on with complexion products. And I'm sure years ago when the brand was just barely like cranking out some really good things, like starting to do some good eyeshadow palettes and whatnot, I certainly couldn't imagine that we'd have multiple base products that are just great from Wet n Wild. I'm thinking of Bare Focus Tinted Hydrator. I'm thinking about the Niacinamide. I'm thinking about 2 great finishes of a foundation. They're just doing so awesome. And look at this now. Under eyes are getting saved. shaved coverage, brightness, definitely feeling like we're full coverage at this point. And then the third step in that little routine would be my loose powder here, the Photo Focus loose powder. I still think you could use Maybelline Fit Me. You could probably throw in any loose powder that you truly love, how it performs on you. But in the spirit of Wet n Wild and just noting how great my staying power has been lately with these three, this is what I've been putting on top. My little pinky puff here from e.l.f. and just dab generously around the under eye, and then we kind of dust away excess. We are officially on fall break here where we live, so the kids do not have school today. They do not have school all week. I'm not sure what we're gonna do with all that time, but playground today for sure. So here we are with that application. I just kind of dust away / blend in whatever's left. And then here's what else I've been doing. So I take this brush that's now kind of got some powder on it, you know, and I just let it dab all over without necessarily dipping into anything additional. And my skin just ends up feeling really uniform. Another thing you can do if you're really like, I don't want this to go anywhere, I know this step helps too. I feel like with this Wet n Wild Photo Finish Matte Foundation, it's a give or take kind of step at this point. It's something that I'd really want to put on top of like a more dewy routine, but it's called the Super Stay Hybrid Powder Foundation, and I just use it incredibly lightly. Shade 128, and I'll just go over everything. Like I said, it's more optional, I think, with this type of foundation, but your look will be in it for the long haul, I can tell you that. If you're a teacher, if you're in a profession where you just know there's not a lot of time for a touch-up and you really want it to last all day, you want it to stand up to sweat, oil, whatever. I feel like this routine is kind of my front runner matte foundation right now, and I hadn't used it for a bit, just in the name of experimenting with other things, and now that I'm back to it, I'm like, yeah, confirmed. It's still amazing. Next, for a little contour, I've been really getting back into this, the Maybelline Perfector 4-in-1 Glow Makeup, which the light version, love it as primer. It's just a beautiful product, but I've really been getting into this shade 2.5 Medium Deep Warm as a contour. I know I used it in a fairly recent video. It definitely does come under the heading of Rediscovered. I was more into it at an earlier time, and now I'm back with it. I just love the ease. You just dab it on, you get that soft contour, like a soft, bronzy, sunny kind of look. Could not be easier to blend in. And doesn't make my skin super sticky or anything. It gives a little glow, even though we're not putting it all over. There's just something about this that I'm really liking. And I really think it's the ease. Blends out like an absolute dream, but creates soft contour. Going back to the kitten conversation, the kitten either sees Biscuit's aggressive tone as like an invitation to play. I think she thinks it's being playful. She'll sometimes chase and like romp around. She thinks, oh, you're growling at me behind a corner? I'll come frolic over and say hi. It's really cute, but she like doesn't get it. And she never tries to instigate anything either. Like she's been nothing but sweet, nothing but just her adorable little self. But now we've got that super subtle, easy contour blended in. And then this is another rediscovery here from Tower 28. It's their Beach Please little cream lip and cheek, and this is the one called Power Hour. I love this shade. This is such like a classic fall type product. This tone, it's kind of deep, earthy, rich. I can pop a little on my lips. And you can see this brownish, dusty rose quality. See how soft and pretty? And then I love it on the cheeks as well, and maybe even first and foremost, because I do have a lot of lip things that can do this. But the texture on these, they are a little bit dewy, I guess. There's moisture in them. But when sheared out across the cheeks, particularly across a matte look like this, they don't interfere. They don't cause any trouble. And it's just a really pretty shade. And I pulled out my other shades. I'll show you in just a second what else I have from this line, because they're all really fun. And it's just fun for creating that monochromatic look, swiping on the lips. Yes, there is some moisture, but they give you kind of that stained, blotted lip idea. But you could apply them really fully, more opaque than this, and get closer to that richness. But we love Tower 28 stuff. Very sensitive skin friendly, lots of gems in this brand. You could even probably lightly dab this in your eye crease or something and kind of have a full-on monochromatic earthy moment with this color. Okay, I kind of got on a roll there applying that one, but I love it so much. Such a nice little product. And then the other shades that I own in this was Power Hour. That's really the fall fave. But we have Happy Hour. That's going to be like a bright corally pink. There's just some warmth in that. Maybe I shouldn't go so far as to say coral, but it's like a bright warm pink. And then this one, this was really fun, Party Hour. Orchid fans, I mean, it kind of comes out looking really cool pink by the time all's said and done and it's all sheared out, but they do a good job with those. I think it would be cool for Tower 28 to like put out a little holiday set of those, but I feel like Power Hour has always kind of been the favorite. For highlighter, there really hasn't been just one. In trying new like holiday face palettes, I've been dipping into the new Ilia one, I've been dipping into Hourglass, so I'll just pull out my Revlon Skin Lights today. Daybreak Glimmer, it's so pretty, just classic must-have highlighter. Really gives you that little burst of life in the midst of a pretty matte look. And I kind of apply to both cheeks. And then, hi Bisky. Oh, she's coming in stressed. And then just do a little blending, feeling like I'm blending with a bare brush, sort of. But when you're going all over with that matte, Wet n Wild foundation, concealer, powder, I think a highlighter is really important. If you're really trying to support that matte staying power mission, you know, it could be a powder highlight. It could have been a powder blush too. Some kind of step that brings a little glow is what ultimately makes the face kind of fool you. Fool anyone who's looking thinking, well, it looks pretty skin-like, you know? That face is catching light, but it's not sticky. So those are some of the main things I wanted to get across in this video. I also have an eye palette, which will show that, and some lip products as well, so stay tuned. So I did my brows. I used my CoverGirl Clean Fresh Nano Brow Pencil, and I put the L'Oreal Brow Lamination Gel on top of that, and Milani Eyeshadow Primer. I am kind of feeling like the lack of compelling, amazing looking holiday eye palettes. I'm not saying there's none, but there's just not a lot. The lack is causing me to dip into my collection and rediscover some things that I genuinely really enjoy. And here's one for fall that is just so great. It's the ColourPop Smokin' Hot palette. It's one of their mega palettes, so it's a big boy. And this was released, I think it was last year in the summertime, but I found it to be just such a perfect fall type palette. And it's combining, looking really generally at it, it's combining two of my favorite tones to see together on the eyes, which is like a peachy kind of tone and a plummy sort of burgundy thing. It's making that all possible in a number of finishes. We have high metallic shimmers, we have softer shimmers, everything in here is great quality. I love these mega palettes. But yeah, if I'm really wanting to get myself in that fall mood, this is a great one to pull out. And by the way, if there are some holiday eye palettes that you are especially intrigued about, there is still time for more things to release and come out. Oh, there she is. There's little miss. That's my coffee. Oh my, the hissing. Growling, exiting the room. Pumpkin Spice is still here because she's just loving life. What's that line, like, no one can make you feel inferior without your permission? Pumpkin Spice doesn't give them permission. See, it just does not enter in that she might not be loved. She's my inspiration. Okay, I'm gonna go into Paprika right here. So just kind of like a warm, soft matte, and I'm gonna use that in my crease. There are several great shades to be able to start out your look. This is just one of them, and you can see that warmth building in my crease. My big thing with that initial shade that you put in your crease, it's just as much about hitting the crease as it is like blending up above and getting like a good bit of color up beyond the crease. Like that's kind of what this shade is about for me. I'm really trying to take up space with it, and I'm wanting the application to be super duper soft. And then it's really easy to go a step deeper. We can go there in a rosy way, an orangey way, terracotta. I'm just kind of looking middle of the palette for something else. And I'm gonna go to this shade called Extra Spicy. It's kind of a rosy brown, and it does have like a little golden sparkle, but in the way we're applying it, that's not gonna be really noticeable. We're not packing it on, we're just kind of blending and really addressing the crease with that right now. Look how fiery. The funny thing is just the amount of time in the existence of my channel where I've noted loving the combo of peach and plum on my eyes, because this goes back to, who remembers Bare Minerals' The Happy Place Quad? That's the product that made me realize how pretty that combo is. Oh, I'd love it if Bare Minerals could bring that back. Wasn't that kind of early in their time of putting out pressed formulas, and they called it their Ready eyeshadow formula? And they had quite a few really nice quads, but I love the Happy Place. If you never got to experience that, this is just one way to get there. There are, I'm sure, smaller palettes that could give you a more bite-sized take on that look, but I feel like a lot of times at this stage of the game, I would go to this matte, or this matte. So maybe now I'd just go to this one instead. This is called Hot Chocolate. It's definitely the darkest shade in the palette. Maybe we'll just show you how that performs. See, completely what you see is what you get. And maybe we bring that in more and use it over more of the lid and create kind of a brownish smokiness here. Now that I've raved about how much I love Peach and Plum, let's do something other than that. Just patting around the surface of my lid, bringing in a little more. Is anybody else obsessed with this size of palette from ColourPop? They're doing it best. They are executing large palettes so well. And I would love to know what your favorite one is in the comments if you're also really into these. Bare Necessities, a great basic. If you only love matte, get Gone Matte. If you like warm, get Smokin' Hot. If you like cool, get Stone Cold Fox. There's an all matte colorful option with lots of like gradients of different colors. There's brighter, more jewel toned options. There's the Smoke and Roses one, kind of rosy neutral. But here we are with that hot chocolate shade all over the lid. We've got that richness. We've left it a little bit bare for like a finger width right in here. And then I'm thinking how nice it could be to go in with the small pointed brush and one of these other shades that's like a little bit lighter and just do some blending out. I'm gonna go with Hot in here, right there. Kind of reddish. And I'm hitting the crease with that. And I'm gonna use that to help the darkness merge out into the previously applied crease color. And that concept can really work for any number of shade combos you might pick from any palette. It's like you get something dark going somewhere on your lid. Maybe it's full lid like this, maybe it's partial lid. But then as you start to blend it out, just look for a color that's a little lighter. And it helps with the fading out of everything. It's getting hot in here. That's what that makes me think of. And when it was move-in day as a freshman in college, that song was Hot, and it was literally hot. And I will forever associate that with move-in day. Okay, I got kind of a lot on my brush right there, but see how pretty that tone is? We really did have a good afternoon here yesterday though with the kittens because they were exhausted. They'd gone like nearly 24 hours with the new kitten being here. The adrenaline in their systems must have been just high. And yesterday afternoon, they all just let themselves sleep. And nobody bothered anybody, and they were all exhausted. Hi, hon.
Had a bad dream.
Oh yeah, what was it about?
It was about a tiger that was almost gonna bite my head off.
A tiger was gonna bite your head off? I hope you woke up before that happened, did you? Yeah. Your hair smells amazing. Happy fall break.
Oh, thanks for putting that camera on me.
Oh yeah, you got the focus on you, don't you?
Focus on me.
There's a little focus square that moves around. Main character just entered, so. I pulled in also just a tidbit of the dark brown too. That was what I was just doing. Just right in the deepest part. And now I feel like we've got a really good, like kind of smoky, chocolatey, warm fade. And now we can decide if we want this look to stay all matte or do we want to add like a little bit of something coming in there. There are so many pretty like metallic shiny options. I kind of want to take this shade called Blazin' right here. I know she's got a lot of intensity. Oh my gosh, I'm getting some fallout too. She's a little more bronzy than you think. Really pretty. Don't get too much on your brush and kind of pack. I'll dust away some of that fallout. It's just a fun palette. Fun for fall. And then I just have this little brush here where I can dust away any flakies, mainly on this eye. I kind of had too much on my brush. So yes, rediscovered favorite. I'm gonna finish off the eye and I'll be right back. This is what I ended up doing on the eyes. I used this pencil from Laura Geller, one of the chubby pencils, Kajal Longwear eyeliner they're called. This is Smoky Amethyst, smudged on my upper lash line and a little bit on like the outer half of the lower lash line. And I love the way that looks. It pairs in with the look great. Firework mascara. This mascara is hitting such a sweet spot for me right now. And then a little bit of Cali Ray Come Hell or High Water on the lower lashes. I love makeup. I was just thinking as I was doing my mascara, like what a great way to start the day. I truly, truly enjoy the time that I come up here and spend either on camera, not on camera, but you know, I especially like making these videos for you guys. But it's my creative outlet. It's my fun. I love products. I love trying different products, and it's just feeling very happy to get to do this. Now on lips, getting really into my Super Stay Matte Ink crayons, just as a base for whatever. Like I've been wearing a lot of glosses lately too, but like Lead the Way, that's that classic kind of medium pink. I wore that in a recent video. Also love this shade called On the Grind. It's kind of a, how would I describe it? Like cool nude, cool medium nude. Live on the edge if you like a deep dusty rose, non-purpley burgundy. If you're into that, that's a great option. And then the other kind of lipstick I'm into again are these from Milani. Who remembers when these were like super hot? These matte Color Fetish lipsticks. The shade Passion is awesome. And then also Sensual. So this brown, deep rich brown, kind of blotted out on the lips and then with a really shiny gloss on top. Like that's kind of a cool combo. I'll show you this one in case you don't know what this looks like. They're matte, they're velvety. Not quite as dark as the tube color, but I love that shade. It's just earthy fall vibes. If you like a brownish lip, like look into that. I'm gonna wipe that clean. And I wanted to show you this shade. I think of it as a chocolate color. It's called Sensual. Okay, so I put this on and I really try to sheer it out, kind of mush it out. Make it look like kind of a blotted lip stained type of vibe. I love it. I think that's pretty as is. And this is gonna hang around for some pretty decent staying power too. This is a matte lipstick, but then like just put a shiny gloss on top and it could be anything. I'm gonna grab this one from e.l.f. This is the Honey Talks shade of the Glow Reviver lip oil. Nice texture on these glosses. These are good, but if you want to know how they compare in the whole drugstore lip oil landscape, I have a whole video about that. The shine really brings a lip of that depth to life, and so long as the initial step you put on is somewhat long wearing, that could be a lipstick, that could be a lip liner. Putting something like this over top, you will still have a lot of color remaining once the shine wears down. And are we going to add more blush? Yes. I'm going to stick with the Tower 28 Power Hour. And just add a little bit more of that on now that I see the intensity level that the eye and lip turned out to have. This is a Sephora 56 and I'm just blotting it on there. My hair is really like slick and clean right now. But yeah, there is my finished look, you guys. Just using some products that I wanted to bring some attention back to. Rediscovered Faves, that incredibly long wearing Wet n Wild photo focus trio, we'll call it, that I used. Loving that Tower 28 blush. It looks so good. Again, lip and cheek if you want to. Perfect kind of earthy tone. Smoking Hot palette is so much fun on the eyes. You do not have to go dark, intense with it. You can definitely get more casual with that palette, but I just, you know, I'm doing a video, so I thought, let's deepen it up. I'm just kind of craving those rich chocolatey tones in the look. So yeah, thank you all so much for watching. I really appreciate your kind comments and support of this channel, and I will see you all again very soon. I love you. Bye.